Championship Sunday in Conference USA. Florida International and Marshall. One of these teams earns a spot in the NCAA tournament, and that trophy, it's all straight ahead from Charlotte. This is the 2015 championship in men's soccer in Conference USA. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, where history could be made today for Bob Gray and the Thundering Herd trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. For Florida International looking to return to the tournament for the first time since 2004. Here is the title matchup. It's Florida International against Marshall for the championship in Conference USA. It is great to have you with us for our match this afternoon. Tom Wormy along with the Hall of Famer Tony Miola. And Tony, maybe not the title match that a lot of people expected, but these two programs have played excellent soccer to get to this point.
Well, they certainly have, Tom, but it's a clash of two different styles. You look at this Marshall side, very organized defensively, very difficult to break down. They do get at you on the counterattack fairly quickly. For this FIU team, it's all about possession through the midfield, getting numbers forward. Can they keep possession long enough, though, to keep this Marshall side from getting out on that counterattack? Because as we've seen so far in the tournament, very difficult for Marshall to be broken down, and it doesn't take much for them to win.
Yeah, Romario Gordon is the guy to watch offensively for the Thundering Herd. He has both goals in the tournament for Marshall.
Well, the junior college transfer, an amazing story, an amazing path to get here to Marshall from Northeast Texas Community College. As you mentioned, both goals in the tournament. He is the picture of efficiency for this Marshall side.
Yeah, Marshall beat South Carolina in the semifinals 1-0. For Florida International, a 1-0 victory against Kentucky, the #1 seed in our tournament, and Brad Fountain, a mainstay for this Florida International program.
And we talked about possession for this team, and as things go well in the midfield and as they link from defense to the forward line, it's this guy here, Brad Fountain, that normally touches the ball. Very good decision maker going forward, very efficient, and he's the guy that makes things happen in the midfield for FIU.
So it's the Panthers and the Thundering Herd in our championship matchup. Neither one of these teams has ever won a Conference USA title, but it's going to happen today. FIU trying to get back to that NCAA tournament. Marshall trying to make history. This is the 2015 championship in Conference USA from Charlotte, North Carolina.
At Duke Energy, it's our job to provide electricity for all the things in your life. But we know we're powering more than just things. We're powering the new you and those eat-your-heart-out moments. That's why we're constantly modernizing our systems so they run like clockwork, and the energy you use every day is better than ever, just like you. Because we never forget that what we're delivering is more than just electricity. It's power for your life.
Great rates for great rides.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with our Players' Choice Pizzas. The new spicy sriracha meats, the barbecue chicken and bacon, or the loaded works for $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
Genghis Khan, Blackbeard, King Arthur.
Let's do this.
Josh Gates explores new legends.
If I was a pirate, this is where I would hide some treasure.
New evidence.
Unbelievable. Real discovery, real adventure. This is it. This is very cool. Let's get out of here. And slightly terrifying, but mostly cool.
All new Expedition Unknown, Wednesdays at 9 on Travel Channel.
Celebrity judges.
Oh yeah, you go down.
Choose seasoned chefs.
Bobby, watch out.
Getting the opportunity to go head-to-head is a dream come true. This is like a mini Iron Chef. What time is it?
Game time.
But Ken, they beat, play.
A lot of people want to see you get beat, crushed.
Bring him on. It's definitely going to be interesting.
All new Thursday night at 10. Beat Bobby Flay. On Food Network. Dig in.
Proud family and a distinctive comprehensive university. We are one of West Virginia's oldest public universities. We honor tradition while looking toward the future. We are the foundation of opportunity for students in West Virginia and across the globe. We're committed to student success in the classroom and beyond. We are Marshall. Your best decision ever.
Wow. College already.
Yeah. We gotta go.
For all those times you stood by me. For all those
And remember that.
Seatbelt. Drive safe. Call when I get there.
all the joy you brought to my life.
I love you.
For every dream you made come true. For all the love I found in you.
I love you too, Daddy.
You're the one who saw me through.
And thanks for everything.
Gratitude. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Back in Charlotte, North Carolina for the championship in Conference USA. Florida International, the number 5 seed against the number 7 seed. The Marshall Thundering Herd for the title here at Transamerica Field. And one of these teams will walk away with the championship trophy. Will it be Bob Gray's Thundering Herd? 21st year on the bench for this program and trying to lead them to their first trip to the NCAA tournament. Overall, Bob Gray has 439 career victories, almost 4 decades in the coaching ranks. And here is the starting lineup for the Marshall Thundering Herd.
And for Bob Gray and his side, it's all about defending Marino and Duchesne in the back. But look at those 3 in the middle of the field. They do an awful lot of work to break things down, led by number 24, Edgington.
For Florida International, its head coach is Scott Calabrese. In his 2nd year, has taken them to the championship match as the co-coach of the year in Conference USA. He's 17, 15, and 2 overall as the head coach. Here is the starting lineup for the number 5 seed, the Panthers from Florida International.
And it's about possession for this FIU team. They like to get their wide backs, number 19 Ware and number 17 Nembhard, into the attack. That could pose dangerous for this FIU team if Marshall can get out on the counterattack. But look for those two to get forward to join up with players like Fountain up top.
Arthur Clapeau is the keeper for Florida International. Made a spectacular punching save with just 44 seconds left in the semifinal match against Kentucky to take out the number 1 seed on Friday, 1-0 here at Transamerica Field. Very exciting soccer over the last few days in Charlotte, North Carolina. In fact, Marshall beat the host, the Charlotte 49ers, in penalty kicks on Wednesday after they ended regulation tied at 1, and then Marshall went on to defeat South Carolina 1-0 to get to the championship. Thundering Herd in the green, Florida International in the white to decide a champ in Conference USA in men's soccer for 2015.
Well, it should be a fun one. We talked about it in the opening, a clash of 2 different styles. This FIU team, they will throw numbers forward. They like to possess it. But for Marshall, it's been about defending, staying organized, and keeping themselves in games to give them an opportunity, as they talk about, to be efficient in games. When they do have opportunities, they've been few and far between, but they've been able to get just enough to find their way into the final.
Thundering Herd on the season, 8-8-2. They went 2-5-1 in conference play, but they won their last 2 conference games to make this tournament field. They won October 31st against UAB in overtime. Also on November 7th, won at Old Dominion 1-0, and that got them into the field, and here they are in the title match.
And you talk about getting hot at the end of the year, unbeaten in their last 6. But again, it's about this defense and keeping teams off the board as long as possible and taking advantage of your opportunities. Be interesting to see their approach early on in the game. Right from the start, I see Marshall already as the aggressor here. And maybe as you game plan for a team like Marshall, the coaches from FIU probably thinking the same thing. They'll sit back, and if you're Marshall, you say, let's go take a couple chances early on.
There's Romario Gordon, the 5'10 junior from Kingston, Jamaica. And as Tony documented, the junior college transfer had the game-winning goal against South Carolina in the semis in the 68th minute. Will be a corner coming up here for Marshall. Daniel Jota, the junior from Ontario, Canada. Headed out by Lopez. Thundering Herd from Huntington, West Virginia.
Tom, interesting on that corner kick. We'll see how it plays out throughout the game. But 4 guys lined up right on the goal line to make it difficult for Clapeau to deal with. And the ball was served into that near post. We'll see if they run any wrinkles to that play as this game progresses.
Clapeau with a 1.07 goals against average. He's 7-3-1 this season with 3 shutouts, making his 12th start of the year. That'll be played all the way back to the keeper, Dominic Reining. He's from Frankfurt, Germany. Made 6 saves against South Carolina. In fact, he's got 14 saves in the tournament, backboning that Marshall defense.
Yeah, it's been very good, but as you see on this last play here, as FIU attacks, it was Paul Marie who loses the ball in and around 20-25 yards from the Marshall goal, which doesn't seem all that dangerous. And 2 seconds later, look where you're at already for Marshall.
Ball in the air, and here comes Clapeau to grab it and come down with it.
Yeah, good job there. As a goalkeeper, you always want to catch a nice clean one early in the game. It was a fairly good opportunity for Romario Gordon, who I thought was just going to turn and have a go, but he flicked it up just a little bit too high for himself. But as we saw in the goal that he scored against South Carolina, he's not afraid to flick one up to himself and get on the end of a volley.
That was a spectacular goal against South Carolina, just a little bit of daylight, and he was able to rip that one to the back of the net. He is the leading scorer for the Herd with 14 points and 7 goals on the season.
Take a look at those green jerseys in the middle of the field, right on the top of that box, to show how condensed they try to make things, this Marshall side. But they have been impressive on how quickly they can get out at you. Even though they haven't scored a lot of goals, they've created opportunities. And then what that does, Tom, is for a possession team like FIU, you start wondering, do I really throw that second and third body forward? Do I really throw that extra player forward? Because we know this Marshall side can get at us quickly.
Told you that Florida International beat Kentucky in the semifinals 1-0, our top seed. Those teams had met in the last regular season game in Conference USA on November 7th, and Florida International lost at Kentucky 1-0, got a second chance at the Wildcats, and came through with a major upset, in fact the biggest of this tournament here in 2015.
There's always something to be said about the NCAAs and conference tournaments. When it's single elimination, the emotions are a little different. You know, you don't get a break here, you don't get a break there, and you don't have games to recover like you do throughout the season in the tournament. Maybe you have a bad game, but you can go and win a few more. These one-and-done games, this is why they're so exciting.
Clapeau to play it. Now, the other thing to consider about that Florida International semifinal win, Tony, is that the University of Kentucky gave up 1 goal in the regular season in Conference USA play, and Florida International was able to get the goal to beat Kentucky 1-0 in the semis.
Yeah, and it was a Daniel Gonzalez penalty kick saved by Callum Irving, the Conference Player of the Year for the 2nd year straight. But again, he was quickest to the rebound. So there's a wasted free kick. You want to put that ball in a danger area. You always want to make the goalkeeper make a decision. When it's that high in the air, you've kind of made the decision for him already. And of course, not in an area where attackers are going to make a play generally.
Daniel Gonzalez wears number 10 in white for FIU. He's a senior from Miami, Florida. And as Tony mentioned, it was off his own penalty kick rebound in the 21st minute, that goal against Kentucky, to get the Panthers to the championship matchup against the Thundering Herd from Marshall. Played wide, Nebhard. He's 17 in white. Defended by Pappas, 23 in green. Freshman from Oceanside, New York. Tomlinson. Stepping up was Lopez. Vacant area. Throw in for the Herd.
That's generally an area where FIU is very good. Lopez gets pressured a bit, doesn't have anyone forward. Thought there was a run into the corner. But if FIU plays in that type of mode, I think it plays into the hands of Marshall. You see the pressure right away by the green jerseys all over the field. And now when FIU can possess it a bit here, as that ball stops, you'll see a green jersey just hawk the ball.
Ware plays it back. Lopez. And now Hetzel. From Waldstadt, Germany, a first-team all-conference selection, number 5 in white for FIU. 6 points on the season for Hetzel. Florida International, Tony, is the top scoring team in Conference USA. They average over 2 goals per game, but 38 on the season, and that's the best in the conference.
Yeah, they do like to get forward. We talked about it. They get numbers forward. But you see how deep Marshall is here. Their highest players behind the circle, which then condenses the space. There's not a lot of room to play.
Chance now for the Herd. Starcher trying to go wide, looking for reinforcements. Broken up and cleared, and that's Hetzel on that back line for FIU.
And there's a great example as FIU gets sucked in to the attacking part of the field. Space starts to open up. And as Starcher stole that one, he was able to get a lane and find a way to goal. Didn't have runners with him at that point, but you'll see this will be the MO for Marshall. It'll be up to FIU to possess it and not turn it over in these dangerous areas. You can see here from a green jersey standpoint, this is rest time for Marshall right now. Get together, get close, cut lanes down. You see all the numbers in the box. It's going to be very difficult to squeeze balls in there if you're FIU.
Cleared out by Edgerton. It'll go out of bounds.
And what you're looking for if you're Marshall here, as you get compact, for Bob Gray and his side, it's get compact, and then when the ball turns over like here, then you turn the volume up a little bit and you get at them with speed. It's a poor pass there, but even when they're defending, there's not a lot of active movement. And we talk about cues. Does a ball bounce up off someone's feet? Does the ball get in the air? Does the ball separate from the player's foot? Those are the cues where you'll see green jerseys hawk the ball. In these areas here, just be covering lanes.
Good to see Bob Gray in attendance. He has not been here for the first 2 matches for the Thundering Herd, dealing with some medical issues, some blood pressure issues. Tomas Olivier was the acting head coach. You saw him there just a second ago. This one all the way into Reining. It's an easy save. But Coach Gray, and I would imagine, Tony, if you've been the head coach at a program for over 2 decades and you've got a chance to watch your team go to the NCAA tournament for the first time, you're going to do everything within your power to be in attendance here in Charlotte.
No doubt about it. If you didn't have enough stress watching the team go through this tournament, certainly won't help that cause at all, but it's good to see him. You talk about legends of the college coaching game. 3rd winningest active coach in NCAA history right now. He is a legend in that story with Romario Gordon, bringing him from junior college, and almost Romario Gordon talking about him as almost a dad figure.
FIU may have a chance here. Knocked aside. Reining made the save. There could be a rebound chance, and finally cleared out of there by the Herd.
It's a good attack by FIU. You saw the numbers in the box, but Renning with a good kick save.
Cross from Nimbrand. Headed up by Schwanitz, and now Reining comes up and grabs it.
We see it here. You see the numbers in the box. This one squirts out to Paul Marie as he finds an opportunity on goal. Riding with a good save, but you see all the green jerseys. Even when one's knocked back for a rebound, difficult to find a lane to get it on goal.
Arthur Dushin, number 3 in green, with a fantastic play to close on Paul Marie, who may have had a point-blank chance, if not for the fine defending from Dushin with the challenge. Gordon. Shot wide of the net. Romario Gordon scored in regulation against Charlotte. That quarterfinal match for the Thundering Herd went to penalty kicks, and the Herd won it 5-3 to pull the first upset of the tournament against the hosts, the 49ers. Team ranked in the top 25. There's a spill there as Freeman went flying.
Good spot here for Marshall. Get those big bodies in the box. Get numbers forward, slow the game down a bit. You see a little frustration building for FIU.
That was Ryan Ford who took the tumble there, number 6 in green. Appears to be okay, gathering his thoughts. Ford steps to it, deflected. Sent up and a chance on the header. There was a whistle, though, and FIU will have possession. Clepeau in position.
Good line by FAU as the first ball was played up. They pulled out. Offside call there. Very good organization in the back.
You know, the Panthers, Tony, not only in the championship match, but qualifying for the Conference USA Men's Soccer Tournament for the first time since 07 when they lost in the finals to Tulsa 3-2. That is their lone championship game appearance for this Panther program.
It's been a great run, and they'd like to end it here today. 5 other teams have come into this tournament as the 7th seed. None of them have won so far. They'd love to break that record and get themselves into the NCAA tournament.
During that run in 07 for Florida International, they played against victory for the Panthers 3-2. That's the last meeting between the teams at the tournament. They also played in 05, and Marshall won in the quarterfinals 2-0. So this is the 3rd meeting in the tournament between the programs, but clearly the highest stakes they have ever played for at the Conference USA tournament.
And this is the time of year you want to get hot. You want to make things happen. All the things you work on throughout the season, the organization. Doesn't matter what mode you play. They're a counterattacking team. They know who they are. They know how they like to play. And you only hope at this time of year you've perfected that as best you can.
Panthers playing their 11th season in Conference USA, and they posted their best record while in the conference. Here's the cross and a chance. Bounces around in the crease. Reining comes out to punch that one away. Wow, what an opportunity for Florida International.
Yeah, and that seems to be the way it's going to happen for Florida International. Scrambles in the box, bodies in the box. Marshall throwing players all around. Good save on the line. Now we've seen in the last 5 or 6 minutes 2 very good opportunities for FIU as they're finding ways to have a look at that man. So we see it here again. The cross comes in. Look at all the numbers in the box. Raining can't make the first play. It's Betancourt on the end of it. He eventually comes out Raining and makes a punch before Marshall clears. But again, all those numbers in the box from a goalkeeping standpoint. I used to hate when people were what I used to call sitting on my lap because you feel like you have nowhere to go.
Saw John Pappas there, number 23 in green, making a great play to clear that ball out as it was just almost sitting on the goal line. And Pappas made the play to clear it. That's the second time that Marshall's had to do that in very tight quarters against that Florida International attack.
And the one thing you fear when you have that many numbers in the box is there's a deflection, there's something in front of you that happens that you can't make a play on. That many numbers, you stick a leg out from a shot at the top of the box and goalkeeper goes one way, ball goes the other way. It's the most helpless feeling. And when you have, again, that many green jerseys, that's something to look for as we move forward here.
Panthers move it into the box. There's the shot, and Reining was ready for it from Brad Fountain.
Brad Fountain made a nice run from the back post, peeled off his defender's shoulder, and was able to find the lane. It looked like it popped up on him just in the end there. It's a good ball played in.
4 goals, 3 assists, 11 points for the sophomore from Southampton, England, Brad Fountain. Highlighted him at the top of the broadcast along with Romario Gordon, number 8 in green, and we'll see how those players produce on this big stage in Conference USA. We told you that Marshall's the number 7 seed. FIU is the number 5 seed. A lot of surprises at the tournament this year, and the 2 biggest ones are meeting for that championship trophy, Tony.
And when you think of this conference of late, you're thinking about the Kentuckys, you're thinking about Old Dominion, who won this championship last year. We were lucky enough to cover that at Old Dominion. What a great atmosphere that was. But this year, it's a completely different story.
Clapeau has to be ready back there, finally cleared by Longo. And up to midfield.
Good job by FIU defense, no panic.
Old Dominion defeating South Carolina in that championship 2-1 a season ago. 4 teams from Conference USA made it to the NCAA tournament in 2014. Charlotte and Old Dominion made it to the second round, while Kentucky and UAB competed in the first round. The winner of this match gets the automatic bid to the tournament. You've also got Kentucky, South Carolina, and Charlotte ranked in the top 25 in the country.
Yeah, this was a conference a few years ago that people didn't really think about as a soccer powerhouse, but they've proven over the last couple of years that they can compete at all levels in NCAA men's soccer. As you talked about, 4 teams, an outstanding feat for this conference last year.
Two years ago in 2013, they were able to send a team to the College Cup. New Mexico losing to Notre Dame in the national semifinals 2-0 in Chester, Pennsylvania. As 3 teams overall, New Mexico, Charlotte, and Old Dominion went in 2013, but a team all the way to the national semifinal in New Mexico.
Yeah, they've done a very good job of recruiting players here. Quality coaches throughout the entire conference.
Marshall defeating South Carolina in the semifinals 1-0 to get to the championship. FIU taking out the top seed Kentucky 1-0 in the first semifinal on Friday here from Charlotte, North Carolina. Ryan Ford, the senior from London, England, leads the team in assists with 5 this season, 9 total points for Ryan Ford. Hetzel plays it back. This is Lopez.
It'll be difficult for FIU to break this Marshall team down if they don't find penetrating spots in behind that front 3 for Marshall. From a defensive standpoint, if that ball's in front of defenders, boy, it makes it very difficult. We see a stoppage here. Not quite sure what happened.
Yeah, there's a player who needs some medical attention. That is Trevor Starcher, number 17. He's a junior. Had the game-winning goal at Old Dominion in that final regular season game to get Marshall into this tournament. But as you can see right now, Starcher in some discomfort. Out on the field, and the training and medical staff of the Herd will come out and evaluate Starcher. I mean, what a run by Marshall at the end of the season. As you mentioned, Tony, their last 6 matches, they went 4-0-2, 4 wins, 2 ties, and had to win those final 2 conference matches just to get here. And now they've made their way to the title matchup.
Yeah, 3 games left in the conference. They weren't sure they were going to be part of this, and now they find themselves in a final. So, again, a very good job by this group.
You know, prior to those 6 matches where they did not lose, they had lost 7 in a row. So things did not look very optimistic for Bob Gray and his Thundering Herd, but they have turned it around and playing some of the best soccer in the country to get to this point. Told you that Coach Gray has 439 career wins, 10th most all time in college soccer, 28 winning seasons. And he was dealing with some medical issues, some blood pressure issues, but cleared medically to make the trip to Charlotte. Was not here for the first 2 matches of the tournament, but he wants to see what his team can do in the title match and try to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. Good to see Starcher making his way to the bench area. Substitution will be Matt Freeman, number 4, senior from Irmo, South Carolina, just outside of the city limits of Columbia, South Carolina. That overtime win against UAB at the end of the season for Marshall. Well, Matt Freeman had the game-winning goal in overtime. Just his 2nd of the season, but that was one of those critical victories that got the Herd to the Conference USA tournament. And now Freeman's in there, number 4.
Looks like he's moved forward, so they'll adjust things in the back.
Fountain trying to thread the pass. That's over the head of Freeman and out of bounds, and a throw-in for the Panthers. Double-digit victories this year for FIU. After winning just 6 matches in 2014, they won 11 so far this year and went 3-4-1 in play in the conference schedule. Just about midway through this first half of the Conference USA Championship for 2015. Tom Wormy along with Tony Miola 3 times in net in the World Cup for the United States, and a Soccer Hall of Famer along with our outstanding Conference USA Men's Soccer Championship production crew in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Transamerica Field, our host all week long. Charlotte 49ers clearly one of the favorites coming into the tournament, losing to this Marshall program in the quarterfinals on Wednesday in penalty kicks. Here's a chance, diving to his left. It's Reining getting a piece of it. May have been going wide. He wasn't taking any chances.
No doubt about it. And it was Paul Marie at that back post as that one squirted out to him. Wasn't cleared by Marshall. As the ball played in the box, and you'll see Paul Marie come into your screen here, and that half volley hammers it near post. Reining sharp to play it wide.
Paul Marie bidding for his 4th goal of the season. He's got 3 so far, along with 6 assists and 12 points. Here's the corner for the Panthers. That's an easy clearance for the Herd. You know, Tony, Paul Marie is one of several players on this FIU roster from France, and we certainly want to recognize the tragic events in that country and in Paris. And there was a moment of silence prior to our championship match, and some of the players from France involved in our title matchup, but Certainly tragic events there and recognized during our championship match today.
And this is where guys like Bob Gray and Scott Calabrese, they become more than coaches, right? They become father figures. So we see a long-distance effort here off a turnover. But now you've got to deal with other things just other than soccer. You know, oftentimes it's just soccer in school. You know, but with a tragedy like this, I imagine there was a conversation or two between the coaches and their players to help deal with it.
Duchesne from Marshall, also from France. Clapeau, the keeper from Florida International, from France also. In our thoughts today as we play for the Conference USA Championship in men's soccer.
And oftentimes in games like this, it's the first team to sort of crack their mold, you know, get away from what they normally do. So far, we haven't seen it from either side. Marshall's content with sitting back, getting 10 players, 11 players behind the ball. And FIU still trying to find those little gaps right there. For Daniel Gonzalez, in between, if he can find that line, in between the midfield and the back four, that's where they'll be able to make some noise if you're FIU. It's been very difficult for them because lanes have been closed down.
Dominic Reining with a couple of saves for the sophomore from Frankfurt, Germany. How about his goals against this season, Tony? 0.63, second best in the conference. We crossed the 20-minute mark of the first half. FIU and Marshall on a corner for the Panthers.
Anytime you give up less than a goal a game, you're always going to be in it. You always have a chance. I don't expect this to be a 4-3, a 5-4 type of game. This was always going to be a close game, and we're seeing it play out here. You know, the issue for Marshall becomes, because they haven't scored all that many goals, if they do go down in the tournament, how do they change? How do they come out differently? Do you continue to sit back and hope that you can get yourself back in the game? I would imagine at 1-0, you know, by halftime, up until that last 10 minutes of the game, I think they would be pretty content with continuing to sit back and not throwing a lot of players forward. But it's up to this FIU team who can score goals to really make the first play here to change the face of this game, or else Marshall's just going to sit back and continue to do what they do.
Florida International scored 4 goals in its quarterfinal victory on Wednesday against Old Dominion, the number 4 seed, to win 4-2. And then just the 1 goal by Romario Gordon. That was enough to defeat Kentucky in the semifinals 1-0.
There's another area there. Those little holes closed down well that time, as Gordon's on the left side of the field now.
Yeah, Gordon has the 2 goals for Marshall in the tournament, against Charlotte in the quarters, against South Carolina in the semis. Daniel Gonzalez had that lone goal against Kentucky in the semifinals for FIU. Tapped around in the box. A lot of green shirts there. Never got to the net on the attempted shot from Nebhard. He's number 17 in white, plays it back to his teammates.
Again, it's one of those plays we just saw. That one was blocked. If you find a deflection in there, it becomes difficult. Balls like that plays into the hands of this big back four for Marshall. Little lofted balls in. If you're going to play a ball in, it's got to be driven. It's got to have a low trajectory. And you've got to have players running onto it. Balls lofted up, it's going to be Marshall's back four all day.
Number 10 is Daniel Jota, junior from Ontario, Canada. He scored 3 times this season, has 10 points. He'll give way now to his teammate John Pappas, who made a great defensive player, else it'd be 1-0 right now for FIU. Right in the crease next to his keeper Reining with the clearance by Pappas earlier in this first half. Based on that, you would probably have to say, Tony, that FIU has had the better scoring chances. A couple of scrambles in front of Reining. They were able to clear it on both occasions. But so far, your assessment as we go inside of 17 minutes, and that one rolls across the end line.
And it's plays just like this where Marshall turns you over. And in this case, it was just good work by Tommy Trupo to get on Clapeau here in the end, as he was a little casual trying to play the ball out to Patrick Lopez. And it was fortunate for FIU that it was played a little hard off of Tommy Trupo to go out of bounds. But it's those type of plays. They read the cues. That was a slow ball played back to the goalkeeper. That's when you go on pressure. It's all about cues when you play in this mode. Again, ball bouncing around there, you get on it. And to be a good team, Tom, it doesn't matter if it's soccer. It doesn't matter what sport you're playing. You've got to know who you are and what type of team you want to be. And both of these teams have a very clear identity, and we're seeing them both played out so far in this first half.
Dushin to put it in play for Marshall, number 3 in green. Headed to that post. Here's a chance. There was a collision there. Clopeau, the keeper for FIU, and now a player shaken up for Marshall, and that's number 19, Connor Marino. And I think he may have collided with Arthur Clopeau right there in the crease.
Looks like he did here. Good line again. Probably called offside there, but there you see the collision. Takes it to the head. It's a good first ball played in. Good line again by that FIU back four. Before the collision, I think the whistle blew. Doesn't make that man feel any better that the whistle blew. He certainly took a shot from Clopeau. Of course, with head injuries these days, all precautions are taken.
Good to see there for Connor Marino being helped to his feet and walking off of the pitch under his own strength. Marino, a senior on this Marshall team, trying to make some history in this Thundering Herd program. A win today, and Bob Gray and the Thundering Herd will go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. They started back in 1979. They've been in this Conference USA tournament 6 times. And first competed in the tournament back in 2005. So Marino hustling back out onto the field, it appeared. Florida International is in the white, Marshall in the green, no score. Just over 15 minutes to go in our first half from Charlotte, North Carolina. The Queen City, our host this week for the men's championship for 2015 in Conference USA. What a beautiful place to hold this tournament on this Charlotte 49er campus. The referee is Mark Gorak.
You see, when the ball I talked about these clues here. When this ball gets on the sideline, this is an opportunity to win it. Good job there by Gordon as he was fouled in the end. You can see some good footwork. A player that likes to have the ball at his feet, likes to be in tight areas.
Tony, how would you describe the warm-up we saw of Romario Gordon prior to the match? We didn't see a lot of soccer balls or kicking, but there was plenty of dance moves.
Well, I was about to say, he's got dance moves that I never had, and I'm not quite sure if you ever had, but
maybe back in the day.
There wasn't, there was no day for me with regards to dance moves, but he certainly had them all. But you talk about being a loose player. His story is amazing that he's come here through junior college. When other schools wanted him, he wanted to play for Bob Gray. Talked about that relationship. And boys, he made the most of it.
For athletes, you want to be physically loose, mentally tight. That's what Arthur Ashe said. And that appears to be the approach for Romario Gordon, who has both goals in the tournament and now trying to get possession of the ball.
Well, there's some of those dance moves there.
Kershaw tried to send it into the box unsuccessfully. And now in transition, Paul Marie. Reining comes all the way out to play that one with 13:33 to go in the first half.
You can hear the shout out to keep the ball, relax, be patient, don't get into this running game with Marshall.
Along the end line. Fountain. Could not collaborate with his teammates. Reining has it now for Marshall. It's the second time that the Conference USA Championship been contested in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. We were here back in 2013, and the way it works in Conference USA, 7 of the 9 teams that compete in men's soccer qualify for the tournament. Top seed gets a bye into the second round. That's where the upset happened by Florida International beating Kentucky in the semis 1-0.
Kentucky, a very good side. I would imagine will have a say somewhere in the NCAA tournament. They will bounce back from this, but certainly when you get to these knockout games and you go down a goal and it was a penalty kick, as you talked about earlier.
Darren Rios has come in, number 25 for Florida International, to replace Paul Marie. Rios has scored 4 times this season, 9 total points. And he's in there at 11:44 and counting in this first half. Marshall leads the overall series between the teams 9-6. They played this year in late September in Miami, and it was a huge win for the Panthers, 5-1 in that match, Tony. And in fact, Florida International has won the last 3 meetings between the two teams.
Well, it's a different time of year, and we talked about it getting hot at the end of the season, recognizing who you are. At the beginning of the year, you may play differently. Coaches go and realize what personnel they have and make proper changes. And as a coach, anytime you lose to a team 5-1, you'd like to think that you're tactically aware enough not to let that happen again, and that's what we're seeing here today, as Bob Gray has certainly made adjustments with this team. So we see a tackle on the sideline. There'll be a stoppage here. Let's see our first caution. So we do.
Mark Gorak is our referee, having a chat there with Romario Gordon.
Just a bit late on this tackle. I don't think there was much intent in there as the substitute Rios draws the foul.
Yellow card on the play against Marshall. Yellow card was issued to Arthur Duchenne of Marshall. And now inside of 10 minutes. Corner for the Panthers.
Taking the corner for FIU, number 10, Daniel Gonzalez.
Headed out by Ford. Trupo to get it for Marshall. Trying to work up the sideline with Freeman. Double teamed. Snuck away. Longo. Gonzalez. Nebhard stumbles as he fights with Freeman.
But Nebhard, who had looked like a lane wide here. You see how many green jerseys are central. They're playing really the width of the box. So about 44 yards wide, 45 yards wide. They've got to use these wide channels when they have the opportunity. I was looking there. I thought Nebhard had the opportunity to get down the line and be one-on-one, because you're not going to see a lot of one-on-one situations against this Marshall side with all these numbers. But he chose to go inside.
Tomlinson. Lopez plays it to midfield. Run down by Hetzel. Gonzalez will go wide. The entry bounces around. Reining able to corral it for Marshall.
We just talked about getting all those green jerseys centrally and then finding a lane wide, and that's what they did on the right-hand side. They were able to get across in the box. That's always dangerous, as we see it here. When it squirts by 3 or 4 players, you saw one deflection there before it eventually ends up with Reining. I think maybe it was FIU. We might see a little bit more of that moving forward, as there's not much with regards to options centrally for them to try and break through this stingy Marshall defense.
Jota. Ford turns around and gives it to Freeman. He came in for an injured Trevor Starcher in the first half. Bettencourt plays it back.
See all that space on the top of your screen there. Now they're finally looking for it, but I think a pass or two too late. At least they found one-on-one opportunity here.
Ware had to play it back. Cleared by Freeman. All the way back to Clepeau, who will play it for FIU.
You see up top of your screen there, FIU standing players on the line, which stretches the width of this Marshall defense just a bit.
Florida International has been to the NCAA tournament on 8 occasions, but not since 2004. There's the cross. Bouncing around. Panthers maintain possession with Rios. Quick turnaround. Caught a piece of that post.
And once again, this started. Nebhard now finally stayed wide, was able to get across in the box. It bounced out. I'm not sure why Gonzalez didn't have a go at it. I think Tomlinson must have given him a shout as he laid it off, but laid it off a little too far. But in the end, Rios on the turn catches everybody by surprise. Reining could only watch it. Fortunately for him, hit that side of the post instead of the inside part of the post.
Rios has scored 4 times this season for Florida International. This program had a magical run, Tony, back in '96. They lost in the national final to St. John's 4-1 after they'd beaten Charlotte in the semifinals 4-0. Now in Conference USA with FIU.
And it was a very good St. John's team coached by Dave Mazur. Had a great run for so many years. They really dominated the Big East for many years. It's around that period of time, up until the early 2000s, where St. John's was really a team that you expected to be around during that Final Four.
Into the box, chipped up over top of the net. And that was Santiago Patino making the run for FIU. We have not mentioned his name a lot, but he might have had a chance there, Tony.
Again, it comes from something wide, and then you get runners in the box, and you stretch this defense. You make defenders look at their own goal and defend while facing their goalkeeper. And Patino, who just came in, gets on the end of this one, was defended fairly well by Pappas in the end once again.
Great pass by Gonzalez to try to set up Patino. Now inside of 4 minutes in the first half.
Oof, tough tackle there. I think we're going to see a card there. No doubt about it.
But Jesse Ware is the player for FIU who went down clutching his left lower leg as he got tangled up with Romario Gordon. It's 19 Ware, a redshirt freshman, down on the grass.
Not sure Gordon has much of a complaint here.
Well, you can see that the yellow card issued by Mark Gorak.
Yellow card to Marshall, number 8, Romario Gordon.
Not sure that he went in with any intention to hurt anybody, but as we know, the rules have changed. Back in my day, Tom, you go into this tackle, they're pouring you a cup of coffee at halftime and congratulating you. These days, they're, as you can see, he goes in, studs up. It's always dangerous for a player. Anytime you can see the bottom of your cleat and you're going with that pace, you always give the referee a decision to make.
Yellow card for Gordon in the latter stages of the first half of our championship match in Conference USA. Neither one of these programs has ever won a title in Conference USA, but that is going to change today. Very tightly contested in the first half. You might say that FIU has had the better offensive chances, but Dominic Reining, as he has been throughout the tournament, has been spectacular and has had help from his backline defending also.
Yep, they continue to stay organized. They continue to make plays, and they seem very comfortable in the box when the ball's bouncing around, that they have enough numbers.
Freeman, shot on. Clepeau was ready for it.
It's a good flick on there by Edgington to find Freeman. He missed on the first one. Probably want to pull that one back towards the penalty spot just a bit more. It was easy in the end for that man, Clepeau.
Gonzalez drops it off. Nebhard. Knocked away by Freeman. Fountain. Pass in. Dushin had the clear. I think it was deflected off of FIU. And number 10, Daniel Gonzalez.
It's good vision there by Fountain to find a lane. It was Rios making a diagonal run into the box. Couldn't control it first time. It was a bit heavy on the touch. But a good look for FIU.
Patino trying to work away from herd pressure. Back up towards midfield and then sent right back by Lopez. Just over a minute to go in our first half. These teams met in the regular season. A dominating performance by Scott Calabrese and his Panthers. A 5-1 win at home. It's a different story this time around, playing for a championship trophy. And now into the final minute.
Boy, Edgington there again in the box. He's been dominant in the midfield, in the air. Every time a ball's gone up, it's been him who's won it.
That went wide on a little bouncer that came in. And Daniel Gonzalez and the Panthers have to retreat with 30 seconds to go in the first half.
And Gonzalez will probably want that one back, as it seemed to bounce up just a bit higher than he imagined it was going to. As Rio swings it in the box. Again, it's a diagonal run in behind defenders that catch this Marshall team just off guard.
17 points on the season for Gonzalez, 6th best in Conference USA, but we have completed the first half and neither team able to get on the board. A tight one in the Queen City. Wow, what a first half. 45 minutes and no scoring. Bob Gray's team trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. Halftime is straight ahead from Charlotte, North Carolina.
There's a sound a ball makes when it catches nothing but. Everyone loves that sound, that precision. At GMC, we get that. Nothing separates the men from the boys like nothing but net. This is precision. This is GMC.
Current lessees switch to GMC and use your Auto Show bonus cash to get this low-mileage lease on this 2016 Acadia for around $297 per month with just $297 due at signing.
There's a battle to win. Nations have dropped from 16 to 12 to 8. Now it's down to the championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway. The stage is set. The stakes are high. The glory will live forever. It's time! NASCAR champions will rise during Ford Championship Weekend, November 20th through the 22nd. Go to HomesteadMiamiSpeedway.com. Only one will rise.
I really shouldn't. No, you know what? I should. And I will. I deserve this. I'm a BOGO findin', weekly ad flippin', couponin' mastermind. Who's saving big time? This girl. Can I help you? Indeed. This queen of savings deserves a reward.
A cannoli, please. The weekly ad, BOGOs, and coupons. 3 easy ways to save at the same place you love to shop. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
The Realtor.com app is real estate in real time, with most listings updated every 15 minutes. New listings, like clockwork. Cheeseburger. Realtor.com, real estate in real time.
Our numbers diminish.
They've been waiting for us to starve.
Lord knows what follows next.
Saints and Strangers, The Pilgrim Story begins Sunday, November 22nd at 9, only on the National Geographic Channel.
Bright House Network's Echo expands your network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Our technicians will install your Echo gateway in the ideal location to maximize internet coverage. They'll test for Wi-Fi dead zones and make sure your wireless devices are connected, letting you game and stream anywhere around your home. Whether wired or wireless, Echo gives your network the most complete and reliable connections throughout your home. Echo is the ultimate home networking solution and is only available with Bright House.
Grab a leash and be a part of Canine Companions Dog Fest Walk and Roll in Orlando on November 21st at Lake Lily. This family and dog-friendly walk brings together the community and our four-legged friends, benefiting Canine Companions for Independence and their amazing assistance dogs. It's easy to get involved. Put together a team of friends, family members, or coworkers and celebrate assistance dogs helping people with disabilities. It'll be a lot of fun, and you'll get to know more about the amazing work of Canine Companions for Independence. What are you waiting for? See you there.
Back in Charlotte, we've completed the first half of play here in the Conference USA Men's Soccer Championship. No score between FIU and Marshall in our title match. Tom and Tony with you in Charlotte. And Tony, it was a very tight first half. You would have to say that FIU had the better scoring chances, but Marshall doesn't mind playing a little defense.
No, they don't. I think we've gotten out of this game so far what we thought we would get early, an organized Marshall defense. They'll sit back. They'll get out on the counterattack. FIU finally in the last 15 minutes or so were able to get the ball wide, get some balls swung in the box, and get some opportunities.
Here's a look at some of the action from the first half, and coming out and making the save, Arthur Clapeau, the keeper for FIU, and his team went on the offensive and had some good chances in the first 45.
He did, and it was scrambled defense for this Marshall side as Pappas makes a play on the line. We see all types of numbers of green jerseys in the box. Here's an opportunity. We talked about it, getting it wide. Raining wasn't able to get to that one. Then there's a few opportunities here for FIU, but this started to become the MO, and as they were able to find You'll see spaces wide as this Marshall defense defends within the width of this box. Once again, one more opportunity. It gets through the box. Raining eventually gets on it, but you just wonder, Tom, does this eventually catch up with Marshall in the end? As Rios, a surprise turn, caught Raining and the rest of that Marshall defense off guard.
Yeah, one of the better chances. That one rung off the side of the post. We take a look at the numbers from the first half and look at Florida International in the overall shots and shots on goal. The Herd looking for their first real good opportunity of the match, Tony.
Yeah, and you see the corner kicks as well there in favor of FIU. Look, they were going to go on the attack the entire game. They were going to get forward, throw numbers forward. Now I think that they found this MO where they're getting wide a little bit. They're finding a little bit more success.
6 saves for Reining in the first half for the Marshall Thundering Herd. Second half is coming up from Charlotte. The winner gets that trophy and a date in the NCAA tournament. More to come from Charlotte.
There's a battle to win. Nations have dropped from 16 to 12 to 8. Now it's down to the championship 4 at hosted Miami Speedway. The stage is set. The stakes are high. The glory will live forever. It's time! NASCAR champions will rise during Polar Championship Weekend, November 20th through the 22nd. Go to hostedmiamispeedway.com. Only one will rise.
Glasses frame your style. Get free in-home try-on and free prescription lenses only at glasses.com.
Truly alone. Alone. Or are we being lied to?
College sports did this. The following is actual audio of a contestant experiencing GSN's terrifying new game show, Elevator. Listener discretion is advised.
Add the versatility and toughness of the Swiss Army knife to the quality of a Swiss watch. Enox meets the highest quality standards for ultimate functionality. Then run over by a 64-ton excavator. Exposed to fire and frozen in a block of ice. Just some of the 130 harsh tests Enox endures. The precision you trust from the brand you've always known. Enox, forged to resist. Victorinox Swiss Army. Available at Macy's and Macy's.com.
Community that's seeking something different from its university. From the sawgrass of the Everglades to the boardrooms of downtown. Miami is a modern, global city built with an entrepreneurial spirit that's always looking forward. A city that moves at this speed requires a public research university to support it. And that's what we've been building at FIU since 1965. A locally engaged, globally connected university.
Boca Raton, Dallas, Miami Beach, Albuquerque, St. Petersburg, the Bahamas. Great food, great music, great culture, and great fun. From the jazz-filled streets of the French Quarter to the sun-soaked sands of Hawaii, our bowl game destinations have a history of greats. Your vacation is our bowl game. Come join us.
Back in Charlotte for the 2015 Conference USA Men's Soccer Championship game. No score after the first 45. Florida International and Marshall. For Florida International, pretty tough road to this championship game. They had to beat the #1 seed in Kentucky. And they've got a really great pedigree when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Yes, they have not been since '04, Tony, but 8 times this program has been. And they've had some great players this year earn some accolades in Conference USA.
And this man Betancourt has been outstanding for them throughout this tournament, throughout the entire season. You see their record there, 11-6-1, 3-4-1 in the conference. But as you mentioned, Tom, best record since 2005.
This program started in 1972, and some great names have come through the Panther program. Robin Frazier, MLS fantastic player there. And Tyrone Marshall was part of the 96 team that went all the way to the finals in college soccer.
I'm looking at this great list. Greg Vanny, Robin Fraser, both coaching up in Toronto. Cassar, the head coach at Real Salt Lake. Steve Ralston, so many great years at the New England Revolution in Major League Soccer. Now with the San Jose Earthquakes, the list goes on and on. Bobby Boswell continues to play and be dominant as a center back in Major League Soccer. So a great list. I'm hoping that alumni is donating back to the program. That's what I have to say.
And watching our broadcast today in the championship match as Florida International is trying to go to the NCAA tournament for the 9th time in program history. Marshall looking for its first trip. We'll have more from Charlotte and Transamerica Field. No score at halftime. FIU and Marshall.
Esurance was born online and built to save dollars. So what will your dollars do? Will they turn your daily coffee from a small to a large? Will they turn your night in into a night out? Or will they turn a 32-inch screen into a 55-inch? Esurance uses paperless billing and settles claims quickly to save money. And when they save, you save. Get a quote from Esurance and find out exactly what you could save. Auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Want a free pizza from Domino's? It's just a game night, late night, bro time, whoa, dance off, pizza cake, and a hot date away. With Domino's new Piece of the Pie rewards, you can earn a free pizza after just 6 online orders of $10 or more. Order our $5.99 deal and sign up to get your piece of the pie at Domino's.com.
There's a battle to win. Nations have dropped from 16 to 12 to 8. Now it's down to the championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway. The stage is set. The stakes are high. The glory will live forever. It's time! NASCAR champions will rise during Ford Championship Weekend, November 20th through the 22nd. Go to HomesteadMiamiSpeedway.com. Only one will rise.
At Duke Energy, it's our job to provide electricity for all the things in your life. But we know we're powering more than just things.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We're powering future rock stars and those "why did I say they could practice here" moments. That's why we're investing in new, innovative technology to make our systems smarter, cleaner, and just as adaptable as you are. Because we never forget that what we're delivering is more than just electricity. It's power for your life.
I've always loved the outdoors, so I turned it into a business. Sure, it's hard work, but Bright House makes it easier by keeping me connected month to month with business phone and internet. And I still get their best price. I'm not locked into a long-term contract, so I have the flexibility to make changes to my services as my nursery grows. Finally, a company that helps me run my business on my terms.
Your business, your terms. Bright House Networks Business Solutions.
It's the Airport 3000 going on right now at Airport Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Our goal is to sell 3,000 new cars for the closeout of 2015. Tons of new vehicles have been tremendously discounted. You will save thousands. No reasonable offers will be refused and all credit applications will be accepted. Our sales team has been told to go all out and crush any deal from any dealer and pound down the payments. We have to sell 3,000 by year's end, located just 15 minutes from anywhere in Orlando. See you at Airport for the Airport 3000 during the Black Friday Blockbuster sales event.
Calabrese and the Panthers back on the field getting ready for the second half against the Marshall Thundering Herd in our championship match in Conference USA on a Sunday in Charlotte, North Carolina. Told you about the Florida International program. Here's a look at the Marshall Thundering Herd. 8-8-2 this season, but a great finish to their season. And one of their all-conference performers, Nick Edgington, for the Herd.
Yeah, and he's outstanding throughout the season, but he's been great today for this Marshall side. Any balls played in the air, he's been dominant. We saw him tracking back to the goal line a few times. He's been all over the field. I'd like to see him get forward a little bit. Could he be the guy in a restart that gets on the end of something to make it happen for Marshall?
Herd lost in the quarters of the Conference USA tournament last year to UAB, but here they are in the title match for Marshall. A win against Charlotte in penalty kicks and a win against South Carolina in the semifinals on Friday to get to championship Sunday for the Herd, trying to win their first Conference USA title, as is the Panther program across the way from Florida International. Marshall, the number 7 seed in the tournament, stunning everybody and making it to the final match against Florida International. And the winner of this match gets that automatic bid out of Conference USA to the NCAA tournament. There's Edginton right there with some inspirational words for his teammates, for the senior from Wellington, New Zealand.
You know, Tom, you think about at this point as you come out of the locker room what the coaches could have told their players. I can't imagine as they've both played out, as we see Bob Gray, who seems to be healthy there, jogging across the field. I'm not sure you change much for either side. I think Marshall game sort of played out the way they thought it was going to. For FIU, they've had the ball possession. It's just what we talked about in the open. Now it's a matter of who can make a play, who can make a difference in the game. Who's that one person that stands up and maybe does something special in this game to put their team ahead? I think at that point we might see some changes tactically. But up until now, it's kind of been exactly the game we thought it would be.
Underway in the second half. Tom Wormy, Tony Miola, a 3-time team member of the World Cup for the United States, along with our outstanding Conference USA production crew in Charlotte, North Carolina for the title match.
You see Patino, who came in late, starting this second half up top for FIU. He was a spark when he came in, as well as Rios. Continues to stay in the game.
Gordon all the way across. Freeman. FIU had the sizable lead in shots in the first half.
It's a push off in the back there by Gordon as the ball went up. Just going to have to watch his reaction. Bob Gray's worked on this with him, his reactions. As you can see him there getting instruction from the bench to calm down. He already does have a yellow card.
A couple of players get tangled up there. Brad Fountain was in white. 24 was Edginton.
Those two have had a battle the entire game. You can hear the reaction from some of the fans. But, of course, that's just the run of play when you've got two guys battling for it. Referee Mark Gorek did a good job of diffusing it, calling a foul. Now we get on with it.
Rios. Trying to take a left-footed shot. Patino got a piece of it also, but it goes across the end line.
Yeah, Rios looked like he wanted to shoot 3 or 4 times there. And in the end, when he eventually took a shot, he had Daniel Gonzalez out wide, who was screaming for it. Made a great run down that left-hand side of the field. Couldn't find him, but they do get a corner kick out of it.
Taking the corner for FIU, number 9, Yusma Longo.
Ishmael Longo with the corner for FIU. Punched out of there by Dominic Reining. Another heading attempt. That by Nebhard. And he was shaken up a little bit on that play.
That's a good job by Reining. I was looking at the formation there for Marshall. So many guys deep. It makes it very difficult for a goalkeeper to find lanes to get through when a cross does come in. That man did a very good job of getting a punch out. And when you do punch it out, you want height, you want distance. You got both of those.
Patino. Dushin defending, number 3 in green.
Patino has been a spark since he was inserted into the lineup in the first half and continues to get a run. He's one of the few players that has been able to find one-on-one situations to get at defenders.
Gonzalez with the corner for FIU. That header attempt will go wide. Look like number 5 there, Marvin Hetzel coming in.
It's the one issue I have, Tom, with zonal marking. You know, you get into that when you find those spaces, like Hetzel just did. Very difficult to defend, and you start looking at each other thinking, that was your area, this is my area. Before you know it, you find one in the back of the net.
Gonzalez. Taken back by Pappas.
Pappas has also been very good today for Marshall. A couple of plays defensively on the line, but just in his tactical awareness, he's been good as well.
Longo challenged by Ford. Tomlinson.
It's just amazing to me how deep this Marshall side lies. You know, normally midfield is your mark. You see there, Jota, number 10. It's where he starts his pressures, right around the circle, and they're okay giving FIU the ball here. To try and squeeze balls in those areas there is very difficult. Not going to see much success if you're FIU.
Jota up ahead, Freeman on the run. Hetzel was back there and plays it back to his keeper, Arthur Clapeau. Gonzalez sidestepped one man, but that one goes all the way to Reining.
And I wonder if you're FIU, if you just allow Marshall to have the ball and almost get into a mode where you send all your players, instead of pressuring up here so high, you send all your players behind midfield and start defending from there. Will that open up space behind Marshall for FIU to get on the counterattack? I know it's not their MO, it's not the way that they go about things, but they can still possess the ball, just start their line a little deeper.
Patino to the corner, run down by Rios. Field level view on the cross, far post, nobody home.
Rios had some runners in the box. Gonzalez was there. Patino was there. Just overcooked that one a bit, but a good breakout by FIU.
Pappas, the freshman, with a throw in. Back to the Panthers. Right-footed shot, well wide.
Like Gonzalez there, as that one bounced up nicely for him. He had one thing in mind, and that was to have a go. I don't mind that idea. You can't score great goals from distance if you don't shoot from distance. And as it bounced up, it set up nicely for him.
Dominic Reining has been busy for Marshall, but he's a keeper that does not give up a lot of goals. 0.63 goals against, and now his team trying to go on the offensive. Knocked away from Jota. In transition, Fallas. Longo. Edgington stepped up, made the play defensively, and a whistle.
Yeah, I think Gonzalez is going to see a yellow card here. You talk about the way Marshall wants to play. That was perfectly set up there for Marshall to get on the counterattack. As Edgington steals it here, you'll see Gonzalez grab him. Actually, a fairly good play there by Gonzalez. Earns the yellow card, but breaks up that counterattack. Daniel
Gonzalez had the only goal of the semifinal match against Kentucky. on his own penalty kick rebound. Hit the left post, came back to him in the 21st minute. That was the only goal of that semifinal match to get FIU to the title game. Kershaw. Freeman couldn't handle it. Freeman had that big overtime winner against UAB in the second to last conference match of the season for Marshall, which had to win its last 2 conference games to get to the tournament. What a road for the Herd. Chip in ahead of Freeman. Clepeau comes to meet it.
Now you see FIU pinned back a little bit. But as the ball turns over, Marshall immediately retreats to get back in their posture.
Played back to Reining. Kept alive there by Rios. Gordon against 2 white shirts and now 3. Trying to come away from the pressure, and now some physical play post whistle.
See a good battle on the sideline here. Rios keeps it in. Then Romario, you heard the shout from one of his teammates to play simple. He's trying to play a nutmeg there, almost pulls it off. And breaks out of this one. You see the jersey grab by Rios in the end. That's what he was called for here. Mario Gordon's going to have to be careful there. Anytime you put your hands on another player, even though it seems innocent, you give the referee a decision to make. Once again, referee Gorek did a very good job of diffusing anything.
Keep in mind that Romario Gordon did receive a yellow card in the first half.
Yeah, he's going to have to be careful.
Junior from Kingston, Jamaica, and Tony told you about his junior college road through Texas and then through some coaching connections. Bob Gray has him in his program for the first season for the junior. He's performed well. 7 goals this season for Gordon. Best on the Marshall roster, and 14 points also tops on the team. He's the only guy who has scored in the tournament for the Herd.
There's Edgington again in the middle of the park. That middle third has been dominated by him, especially when things have gone in the air.
Kershaw trying to create.
You can tell Kershaw wants to get forward. This is a guy that was converted from a midfielder to play as a wide back for this Marshall side. So he has that itch to get forward. He's very good with the ball, as we've seen a number of times today.
Tomlinson escaping forward. Gonzalez taken back by the Herd as Dushin stepped up. And a sliding play from Lopez. Kershaw, the sophomore from Severna Park, Maryland. We'll get another throw in. Patrick Lopez, junior from Miami, Florida. Marshall, the number 7 seed in the tournament, Florida International, the number 5 seed. Long throw in. Lopez with the header to get it out of there for the Panthers. Patino goes down. Gordon. Ford. Tried to get it to Jota unsuccessfully.
It's a good opportunity for Marshall, snuffed out by even better defending by Hetzel in the end. As you mentioned, Jota was the target there. Hetzel stepped in for that intervention, or else he'd have had a look at goal. Starting to get the sense, Tom, that this game is playing more into Marshall's hands than it is into FIU's hands. It's become turnover after turnover, which allows Marshall to get forward as Paul Marie enters the game once again. I believe for Rios, who did a very good job. Remember, Paul Marie in that first half got on the end of one that was eventually saved at the near post by Raining. But again, FIU hasn't been able to possess the ball last 10 minutes or so.
Back to Glapeau. Lopez. Skillfully done. Ware. And now Fountain. Trying to work the give and go, and they could not collaborate.
Again, those are balls there that Fountain will want that one back. That's a simple pass that he's made thousands of times and just overhits that one as Ware was making the run up the right-hand side.
Maybe starting to feel a little bit of the nerves now as we get inside of 30 minutes title match.
And I agree. And what normally happens here for a possession team is you start to wear the other team down. It almost seems to be playing into Marshall's hands.
The other issue is that both of these teams have already played 2 matches at the tournament. Running on adrenaline in the title match. For 2 teams that were not expected to be here. Within their own programs, thought they could make a run. Marshall built some great momentum at the end of the season. FIU top scoring team in Conference USA.
Well, you don't even see a green jersey. Jota's coming into your screen. He was about 10 yards deeper as that ball got headed out. Talk about work rate in the game. He's done so much work. It's a tough position to be in as he seems to constantly be chasing balls around up top by himself. Like an offside there is a good line held by Marshall.
If you're just joining us, Bob Gray had some health issues, but was cleared to travel, was not here for the first 2 matches of the tournament for his Marshall program, but made it today on the bench. Sure, he wanted to witness the history. Should the Thundering Herd win this match, they'll go to the NCAA tournament. As you've heard me say on a number of occasions, it would be the first time in program history, but it deserves to be repeated. Coach Gray's been there over 2 decades. Wants to be a part of that championship celebration, should it be in the favor of the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Now inside of 28 minutes, Tony, in our championship match.
It's another situation where Romario Gordon is involved with a player, a push, a discussion with the referee. He's going to have to be careful again. I've said it 3 or 4 times now, but now you're giving the referee the option to take a look at other measures. Betancourt seems to, once again, there was a replacement for Patino. We saw that change in the first half. We didn't see much from Betancourt early on, but he's been such an important part now. He's rested probably a half hour if you include halftime now. Maybe a bit more, so he should be fresh.
Betancourt leads this team in scoring with 8 goals this year. That's 4th best in Conference USA. 4 game-winning goals on the year for Luis Betancourt. So watch for number 11 in white, as Tony mentioned, coming in fresh off the bench. Junior from Parkland, Florida. This is Bettencourt, number 11. Can't get to it, though.
Boy, I'm looking at Jota up top from Marshall. He's got to be spent.
Gonzalez looking for some room. Shot muffled as it struck Pappas. Lofted in. Reining is ready. Gobbles it up. Trupo on the run. Gordon trying to escape from 4 and 5 white jerseys. Edginton.
Marshall's got FIU pinned back here. They had the first attack. Ball gets cleared. They win that ball coming out. They can continue to stay on the attack.
Dushin. His pass is picked off. FIU gets back possession. Bettencourt.
I would think if you're Marshall and Bettencourt comes 40, 45 yards from goal to receive a ball and stand on it, you'd be happy with that. Where he's most dangerous is in front of the goal, finding ways to score. So when he receives, one of their most dangerous players receives the ball in that area of the field, you kind of feel like you've won that part of the battle.
Fountain, right-footed, sailing well wide.
And I think that there's a product of seeing so many green jerseys in front of you, so many guys packed in. There's really no room. So it looks like Fountain may get a rest here.
Cambion Hines has come in for Brad Fountain. So he'll get a chat with Scott Calabrese. Calabrese, an assistant at Clemson when it went to the College Cup, and he was an assistant on the 01 National Championship team from North Carolina, so he has worked his way up and done wonderful things with his Florida international program.
Certainly has. He's built a team and brought in players that want to play. They want to possess the ball.
Ware on the cross, far post. There's a chance. Cambion Hines just came into the game and had a shot opportunity that was blocked. Cambion Hines off of Dushin. Gonzalez and Cambion Hines not on the same page.
Yeah, Gonzalez had one thing in mind, and that was the guy who just came in, who's fresh, to make a darting run centrally, and he decided to stay wide. That was turned over.
There's Jack Hopkins coming into the game, the senior from Birmingham, Alabama. Does have one goal to his credit this year. So some liberal substitutions by both sides with 23 minutes to go in the second half.
As that man Jota probably had no more legs. You look at the exhaustion on his face. All he's been doing is chasing sideline to sideline.
Trying to go back towards Clapeau. He's able to field it and roll it out. Start the breakout with Ware. Lopez back to it. FIU methodical in moving that ball up the field. All about field position. Trying to drive Marshall back, but the Thundering Herd, as Tony has mentioned, very comfortable packing in on the defensive end, and they've done well thus far to keep this one scoreless against the Panthers.
You know, when you're a team that sits back and counterattacks, this is normal for you. This feels comfortable for you. When you're FIU, and most teams don't play this way, and you're seeing it now for the first time maybe. Of course, they saw it throughout the season, were able to break it down, but Marshall wasn't playing in this mode the first time around.
Nibbard intercepted. Gordon stumbles down, clutching his ankle. Here's a shot blocked. It went out to Ford, and he redirected it to his teammate Hopkins, who has just come in, trying to be a one-man breakout, and he just has to send it across the line on the near side, and that's for Mario Gordon, clutching the right ankle area.
We see the clearance here in the end. Shot taken, 3 or 4 players in front as it comes out here. This was the play here. Ware seems to catch Mario Gordon on the ankle. 2 players just going for a tackle.
Yeah, just an awkward convergence between the 2 players, and Gordon getting some medical attention from the training staff. Dominic Reining, his keeper, will come out to also check on his teammate, Romario Gordon. Flashy skills. Likes to chat a little bit with the opposition and his teammates during the course of play. And Tony, it appears he tried to put a little weight on it unsuccessfully.
Yeah, I get the same feeling. It's not a twist. It didn't seem like a twist. It seemed more like he got caught the bottom of Ware's cleat. He's going to try and walk it off.
Well, it's obvious that these athletes want to remain in this match. This is for the championship in Conference USA, and neither program has ever taken home that title trophy in Conference USA. Marshall joining Conference USA in 2005. Florida International in its 11th year in the conference also. Certainly can't miss those shoes. Fluorescent orange, and he's running. Not quite full gallop, but he's in there. See if he puts it to the test here. Taken away from Gordon. Tomlinson fed ahead.
With Gordon struggling behind the play to get in a full gallop.
Ware. Look like a heel flick back to Daniel Gonzalez, who will try to tee one up. But this one airmails the intended target.
It looked like he was lined up to cross that one. It took a little hop up on him. He had runners in the box and came off the outside of his foot. Not what he was looking for there.
Headed forward by Edginton and back by Lopez. Camby and Hines, who's just entered the match, 14 in white. Now Gonzalez racing down the sideline. Can Kershaw catch him? Sent all the way across. Bettencourt played it. Coming in is Longo. Headed out by Dushin. And a second attempt also.
See a lot of white jerseys just standing around in the box where they were able to find a little success on crosses in the first half, as they have runners in behind defenders off their shoulders diagonally. I think the referee missed one there. I thought Gordon committed a foul before that one bounced around. He got the handball in the end. We see the scramble here. Well, he got all ball there. Did catch him a bit in the end. Eventually, Gonzalez fell on it. Made it easy for the referee.
Dushin to start it for Marshall.
Referee number 6 is offside. Watching.
Freeman, marked by Ware. Freeman. Attempt by Ford, but couldn't get much on that. And now Clapeau remains on the ground.
Gordon involved in this one again. Nebhard not happy with this as his goalkeeper Clapeau is rolled up on. But again, it's these little plays that keep building up for Gordon. He's going to have to be smart. Let's see, a yellow here. High kick, it looked like, on Nebhard. Looked like referee Mark Gorick was just going to have a word with him. I'm not sure this one warrants a yellow card, but in the end, he got one.
For the announcement, Deshaun Nebhard.
Here we see it there. Yeah, it's a high kick, there's no doubt.
Trupo ran it down. It's going to be a throw in FIU. And now 17 minutes to go in the championship match in Conference USA for 2015. One of these teams gets the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. All the way in on Reining. So glad that you joined us, Tom Wormy, along with Tony Miola. Tony, so great to have you with us. 3 times a member of the World Cup team for the United States. Hall of Famer.
It's a very old introduction right there. No, I enjoyed
well
it.
Deserved, yes.
This game last year was so exciting. Got to go down and see ODU beat South Carolina. This year, really 2 Cinderella stories in this final here. Always love watching young players come up through the college system. Who's going to be the hero today? Who's the guy that's going to make one play to make history in this conference final?
Gonzalez, Kemby, and Hines kept it in play. And there's Dushin, who seems to be everywhere defensively for the Marshall Thundering Herd, number 3 in green.
Well, we should have started counting how many plays Dushin was going to break up in the beginning of this game. I don't know how many it's been, but the number is very high as far as breaking up plays in that final.
And he acts like a second keeper back there for Marshall. Daniel Gonzalez on the corner for the Panthers. Headed from the far post and in. Florida International, and it's Lopez.
Well, we were wondering who was going to make a play. Danger on corner kicks for FIU's was non-existent the entire game. Lopez comes flying through the back post like Gonzalez service. Trupo, the responsibility of manning that back post. I get the sense he thought it was going wide as he let it go, and you can see the reaction there. He knew it was the wrong decision in the end. Nonetheless, that man there, number 22, Patrick Lopez, the junior, gets on the end of it, puts FIU up 1-0.
3rd goal of the season for Patrick Lopez. And he scores at the 15:04 mark of the second half as we count down in regulation. Tony, I think you're right on with that comment about Tommy Trupo. near that post, kind of turned sideways and watched it go in.
You saw his reaction, almost like instantly knowing as he breaks this one up here, instantly knowing he made the wrong decision, thinking it would go wide. How does this change things for Marshall now?
Freeman. Knocked away by Hetzel.
One thing has changed. You see Dushin, number 3, as high up the field as we've seen him. Now a bit of a scramble here.
Clepo kicks it to midfield. Up ahead and too far for Gordon.
You know, for all we talked about possession, we talked about how many numbers FIU throws forward. And eventually happens on a back post corner kick from Gonzalez to Lopez that breaks this Marshall side down. Now Marshall, 13 minutes to go. It's about the time you start coming out of your shell if you need a goal. So what do you change? Do we find Joe to maybe come back in up top? Will Marshall start their pressure a little bit higher up the field? Certainly can't sit back and allow FIU just to play the ball around the back 4. I'm sure in this case here they're going to throw some big bodies forward, look for a knockdown.
That's Lopez defensively now. And Hetzel. Now, this Panther program hasn't even played in the Conference USA tournament, Tony, since 2007. That year, they lost in the finals to Tulsa. Here they are in 2015 in the championship match with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, now their possession becomes ultimately the most important thing. The more FIU can have the ball, the more they'll kill the game off. I would imagine you see a little more intensity as it looks like Matt Freeman is going to exit here. We just talked about it. Jota coming back in, their normal center forward.
Kershaw, the long throw in. Trying to get it to Gordon. It will stay with the thundering herd. I would imagine we're going to see the tempo of this match ratchet it up a little bit here, Tony, in the final 12 minutes.
I would also imagine situations like this are going to be dumped in the box.
Play on. Dushin, who had come up from his defensive post, and now he is involved in the play offensively as he had the header there, but Kemby and Hines back there defensively for FIU.
It'll be FIU on the back foot now, having to defend this lead. Kemby and Hines, good job of heading that one. Probably wanted to hit it over the sideline. Gives up a corner here.
Jota has the corner. Clepo directing traffic in front of his net. Jota, corner. Clepo might have got a piece of that one.
Looked like he did punch that one out. Very good job of keeping his composure. There's so many bodies in the box. There's really not a lot of room to run out and make a play. You just got to jump over people.
He has kept that clean sheet thus far. But the pressure certainly coming from the herd in desperation mode. Dushin, that might have gone off of Lopez, could produce a corner.
I believe it did there, but I think this is what we're going to see now for 10 minutes plus is Dushin up top, Edgington up top, balls pumped into the box, looking for a knockdown, looking for a deflection. He almost had one.
If they're standing, though, they can stand. They can win together. That's different.
Hopkins on the corner. Bends it in. Panthers alleviate the pressure for the moment. Jota fakes one way, tries to go down that sideline. Could not get around Jesse Ware. But all he can do is send it over the sideline.
Good job of defending by Jesse Ware.
a redshirt freshman on this roster for FIU, Jesse Ware.
It's going to become a game of aerial battles now. Last 9.5 minutes. So this will be what the picture looks like. Ball's dumped into the area. Wonder if FIU maybe brings someone on the taller side in to help with some of these aerial battles.
Inside of 9 minutes now. Rios has come back into the match for Florida International, replacing Paul Marie.
Those are the types of plays right there. A knockdown, get a shot. You mentioned Rios coming in for Paul Marie. I think what it does for FIU, I like the substitution by Coach Scott Calabrese. Gives them a hold-up option as balls are cleared out. Someone a little bit bigger body. Did a good job coming in, holding the ball up, allowing other players to get in the game.
It's Cambion Hines and Ryan Ford on the exchange.
This allows Marshall to get big bodies up in the box again and dump one in. It'll be Ford, it'll be Edgington. Those will be the targets.
Jota sends it in. Now, who did that one go off of? Indication is for a corner, I believe, Tony.
Yeah. Good battle at the back.
As Rios, 25, came in just a moment ago, and now Jack Hopkins, who was also a substitution for the Thundering Herd, efforting the corner kick.
Just surprised Edgington's at that near post on the line. Especially if you're going to serve at far post like that. He overcooked that one just a bit. Back post was probably the target, just a bit too far. But I would imagine Edgington, Ryan Ford, those are guys you want running onto it. Unless, of course, you're going to serve it in near post to Edgington and have him flick it on.
Matt Freeman comes back in. Tony, you talked about some of the taller players coming back in for Marshall. Well, he's 6'1", and a senior for this Marshall team.
He comes in for Pappas, who I think was very good throughout the game.
Call goes in favor of the Thundering Herd.
Referee stopped the clock, it looked like, because Rios poked the ball away.
Stops for the moment with 6:21 to go. This is going to be Reining from midfield, way out of his crease. Up for grabs. Header, what a save. Clopo anticipating the header from Romario Gordon.
Yeah, as we talked about, it was going to be knocked around the box. Good ball, one in there by Edgington. Finds Romario unmarked. You want to stay with runners as this play continues. Clopo in the end, easy one for him. Good footwork, good reaction. Was able to pull it down, but a very good opportunity.
Cambion Hines gains the corner. And taken away by Edgington.
Oh, what a good tackle that was. Timing had to be perfect, as he ran the risk of a penalty kick there. And Patrick Lopez with the steal at the other end. He has been so good this second half for this FIU side.
Gordon in line. Cleared away. Now 5 minutes to go in the championship match. Bettenker. Edgerton comes back to mark him.
It'll take some heavy legs here for both sides as they slow it down.
Ware almost lost it on the sideline. Recovers. Tomlinson. FIU trying to work that clock. The 1-0 lead on the goal by Patrick Lopez, his third of the season. That's the difference so far. Rios garnering a lot of attention in that corner. And that clock continues to tick.
Nice job by Nebhard there and Rios to keep it in the corner, keep possession, get a little time.
Gonzalez, Camby and Hines teeing it up over the crossbar.
It's a good save in the end there. I'm not sure if it came off of Tommy Trupo or if it raining in the end. It was a good look by Camby and Hines. I thought he took a bit too much time as it did hit off the shoulder of Raining there. I don't know that he knew much about it as he had turned his head.
Came way out to cut off the angle and was able to change the trajectory of that ball up above the crossbar. Racing out of the corner, Gonzalez, and he rolls it in on Reining.
And Bettenker at the top of the box. Seemed like he ran out of steam in the end.
Dushin. Rios. Camby and Hines providing some assistance. 2:30 to go now. Fed up ahead, Lopez, the one-man back for FIU, spun away from Romario Gordon. Now the final 2 minutes. Perhaps one last opportunity for the Thundering Herd to get the equalizer. Gordon the pass. Loose. Dushin shot blocked. Bettenker comes away with it.
Very nice job by Bettenker to hold it up there. Flicked it over the defender. Now they've got possession. Where they lose it here.
Panthers with the ball. Dushin back there to kick it away. Camby and Hines puts on the brakes. Rios couldn't get to it. Now just a minute to play.
1 minute remaining regulation.
Florida International trying to close in on its first Conference USA championship. Some anxious moments. Both bench areas. Final 38 seconds. Panthers had not been to the tournament since 07, lost in the finals then.
Not sure what the discussion is here with the clock.
Yeah, the clock is still moving. Freeman has the ball for Marshall, waiting for the throw-in in front of the FIU bench.
15 or 20 seconds seem to have ticked off.
Will the goal from Lopez hold up the final seconds for the title match in Conference USA for 2015? Ball seems to be in play. Clock is not moving, Tony. Dushin might have been deflected. Will it be a corner? It will. So they readjusted the clock. And we're going to play a final 30 seconds as Jota comes over for the corner with some immediacy. Chance right in front. It's blocked. Dushin had a chance. Gonzalez sends it out. See the anticipation from the FIU bench. Final 10 seconds. Flurry of action to finish it off. But this championship in 2015 belongs to the Panthers.
What a great job by FIU in the end. Able to clear everything that was thrown at them as they were eventually crowned champions of Conference USA. And that group should be happy. Defeating Kentucky, the #1 seed, to get here to the finals. A well-deserved championship as they'll make an appearance now in the NCAA tournament. It wasn't easy. You got to give Marshall credit. But in the end, FIU was just too much.
They have won that trophy. And they deserve that celebration. Recognition of the events in Paris. Several players on this roster from France. In the end, in 2015, the trophy belongs to the #5 seed, Florida International. Gonzalez had the corner. Lopez the header. Tony, that's the difference.
Yeah, that was the difference there. And that man, Lopez, for me, the player of the game for FIU. He was so good on the defensive side of things. Gets a reward on the attacking side of things. But of all the players on this FIU team, it was a center back that made the difference.
The Panthers are going back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2004 and the 9th time in program history. Once again, your final score, FIU 1, Marshall 0 in the Conference USA Championship. For Tony Miola and our outstanding production crew in Charlotte, I'm Tom Wormy saying so long, the Panthers champs in Conference USA.
You probably can't work out like an NFL player, but now you can eat like one.
Get our Player's Choice pizzas, the new sriracha meats, the barbecue chicken and bacon, or the loaded works, just $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza, better football at the new papajohns.com.
I really shouldn't. No, you know what? I should. And I will. I deserve this. I'm a BOGO findin', weekly ad flippin', couponin' mastermind. Who's saving big time? This girl. Can I help you? Indeed. This queen of savings deserves a reward.
A cannoli, please. The weekly ad, BOGOs, and coupons. 3 easy ways to save at the same place you love to shop. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
The sleeper pick. The guy only you believe in. In one-day fantasy basketball on DraftKings, he can be the difference. So trust your gut. Trust your numbers. Trust your Uncle Vito if you want. But know this, that sleeper is out there. The question is, who's gonna play him? This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time.
Contests with huge cash prizes are running daily. Play free with promo code BASELINE.
A well-put-together man is said to be sharp. At GMC, we get why people appreciate that kind of precision. After all, precision is the kind of sharp that slices through a crowd. This is precision. This is Denali from GMC.
When the other driver doesn't look twice, click once. The lawyer you need is right here. GetJustice.com. It's not just a website, it's what we want to do for you.
A lot has changed in a decade. The cost of housing has gone up. Healthcare has gotten more expensive. Even the cost of food has increased. And while we're using energy in more ways than ever, the price you pay for that energy from FPL is lower today than it was 10 years ago. We're using smart technology and working more efficiently to bring you the lowest bill in the state. See how your bill has changed in the last 10 years at FPL.com.
Sign up for this year's Miami Heart Walk and be part of the movement that's helping others live longer and healthier lives. The walk is Sunday, November 22nd at Museum Park in downtown Miami. It's a free event for the entire family. For more info, visit www.miamidadeheartwalk.org. The Miami Heart Walk is nationally sponsored by Subway and locally sponsored by UHealth and Baptist Health South Florida.
Due to the length of the previous program, we now join the following program already in progress.
I'd sign.
You'd sign for the money.
I'd be gone.